Hello, I'm Steve Weber, the host of EssentialBookDrop.com. Happy Saturday, everyone. It's October 4th, 2525, and today we got something great for all you fans of classic thriller movies and a new book that's getting a lot of buzz. With me, as always, is my co-host and my bookworm sidekick, Cassandra. Good morning, Cass. Go ahead and kick this.
That feeling of being stuck, watching the world go by, maybe seeing things you shouldn't. It's powerful stuff.
It really is. And it's the core of Alfred Hitchcock's 1954 classic, Rear Window. Just unforgettable.
Absolutely. And today we're diving deep into how that unforgettable film actually got made.
We're looking at this fantastic new book, Rear Window, The Making of a Hitchcock Masterpiece in the Hollywood Golden Age by Jennifer O'Callaghan.
Yeah, this isn't just another appreciation. O'Callaghan's gone deep into the archives. We're talking production files, studio memos, personal letters, stuff that really gives you the inside story.
Exactly. It's a forensic reconstruction, really.
Yeah.
How did they build that incredible set? How did the stars align, or nearly not align? What were the studio politics like back then?
Our mission today is to pull out the best bits, the real nuggets of insight from her research. So you get the backstage pass, understand the technical feats, the creative choices, the whole pressure cooker environment of Golden Age Hollywood that produced this masterpiece.
And it's a rigorous study. O'Callaghan lays out how constraints, like the production code or the sheer difficulty of the shoot, actually fueled creativity. Just for context, the book's from Citadel Press, out late 2025. It's looking like the definitive word on the making of this film.
Okay, let's start at the source. The film's famous for that locked-in feeling, Jeffrey's stuck in his apartment. But it started as a short story, right? By Cornell Woolrich.
That's right. It had to be murder.
So what did O'Callaghan find about turning that very internal story into a big cinematic experience? Must have been tricky.
Oh, incredibly tricky. You see, Woolrich's story lives almost entirely inside the main character's head. It's all his thoughts, his growing paranoia, interpreting little fragments he sees across the way.
Which works on the page, but film needs action, dialogue, something external.
Precisely. How do you keep that intense single viewpoint, that voyeuristic suspense, for, nearly 2 hours without just resorting to endless voiceover? That was the big challenge.
A huge structural hurdle.
Yeah. And this is where the screenwriter, John Michael Hayes, comes in. The book really details his contribution. Hayes worked very closely with Hitchcock.
He wrote a few Hitchcock films around that time, didn't he?
He did, yeah. A really fruitful period. Hayes understood that the film couldn't just be about Jeffrey's watching. It had to be about the reactions, the interactions between the watchers.
So bringing in Lisa Fremont, Grace Kelly's character, and Thelma Ritter as Stella, the nurse, they become the audience's stand-ins almost.
Exactly. O'Callaghan shows how Hayes meticulously crafted their dialogue. The banter, the arguments, the growing fear between Jeffries and Lisa that carries so much of the film's emotional weight. It externalizes Jeffrey's internal state.
Instead of just hearing his thoughts, we see his reactions mirrored or challenged by Lisa and Stella.
Right. And Hayes had this balancing act to perform. You needed the high tension of the murder plot, obviously. But you also had massive stars, Jimmy Stewart, Grace Kelly. Their dynamic, their personas, had to be front and center, too.
So the dialogue had to serve the thriller and the star vehicle aspect.
Absolutely. O'Callaghan talks about the memos, flying back and forth, refining lines to make sure Lisa wasn't just, the pretty girlfriend. Kelly was a rising star, won an Oscar around that.
For the country girl, yeah.
Right. So her character needed substance, agency. She couldn't just be decorative. That negotiation, making the romantic tension just as compelling as the potential murder, was a very conscious choice detailed in the book.
That makes sense. It feels so seamless in the final film, and it sounds like O'Callaghan structures her book around this whole process, step by step.
Yeah, it's very chronological. From the source material through the script battles, the casting dramas we'll get into, then the massive technical side, the set, the sound, and all of it posed within the context of the time. The production code, mid-century American culture, it's all in there.
She calls it a forensic history. Sounds like she really dug deep into the paperwork.
She really did. The aim wasn't just to retell the story we think we know, but to reconstruct how it happened using the original documents. Memos, budgets, letters. They show the choices being made under real pressure. It wasn't just Hitchcock waving a magic wand.
It was negotiation, problem solving.
Management, dealing with studio interference, censorship, all of it. Making a masterpiece in '54 was complicated.
Which brings us perfectly to the technical side. Because, wow, that set, it's practically legendary.
It really is. Sometimes the technical brilliance gets a bit overshadowed by the suspense plot, but O'Callaghan gives it full attention.
It was just Huge, wasn't it? Built entirely indoors.
Entirely. On
Wow.
Paramount Stage 18, and yeah, huge is an understatement. Apparently the largest indoor set ever built at Paramount up to that point, something like 98 feet wide, 185 feet long, just
And you
massive.
see, what, 31 different apartments, all visible from Jeffrey's window, the coordination alone.
That's the genius of it. O'Callaghan details how it was engineered. Multi-level, working fire escapes, they even had plumbing for the rain effects. But the key thing the book stresses is it was purpose-built for that single viewpoint.
So Hitchcock could stage action happening simultaneously in different apartments, all seen from Jeffrey's perspective.
Exactly. Little slices of life, seemingly unscripted moments, all playing out at once. It creates this incredible feeling of a living, breathing neighborhood.
But building something that massive indoors, that must have created some unique headaches, like lighting, sound.
Oh, major headaches. This is where O'Callaghan's archival finds are gold. Lighting continuity was one massive challenge. They had to simulate different times of day, bright sun, twilight, dead of night, across all those windows, all under the roof of a soundstage.
How did they even manage that?
With an incredibly complex lighting grid, apparently. 4 levels, supporting something like 500,000 watts of power. They actually had to dig out the stage floor to fit the height of the main courtyard set.
500,000 watts. Wow. So controlling the light spill, making sure the light in one apartment looked like evening while another looked like afternoon.
That was the trick.
Mm.
O'Callaghan describes how they used adjustable screens, huge baffles, really precise control to maintain the illusion of different times and the sense of depth. It wasn't just flooding the set with light, it was surgical.
And sound. A huge cavernous stage like that must have echoed terribly.
Another nightmare. According to the production notes she uncovered, they used highly directional microphones, often hidden just out of frame, plus lots of sound-baffling material on the stage walls, even on the back of the apartment sets themselves, to soak up reverberation. They needed crisp dialogue and those subtle background sounds.
So those limitations, the single viewpoint being stuck on a soundstage, they actually forced incredible innovation.
That's a key theme in the book. The constraints weren't roadblocks, they were catalysts. Hitchcock and his team had to invent solutions because they couldn't just move the camera or go shoot on location easily.
It really shaped the whole aesthetic. The set became the engine of the suspense.
Totally. It wasn't just scenery, it was the mechanism, the physical cage defining Jeffrey's world and ours.
And the sound wasn't just about clarity, was it? Hitchcock was famously meticulous about sound design.
Oh, absolutely. O'Callaghan goes into detail on the use of diegetic sounds the characters within the film can actually hear.
Like the music drifting from the composer's apartment or the couple arguing.
Exactly. Hitchcock uses it constantly, often ironically. That composer's piano piece, for instance. We hear it evolve through the film, from fragments to a finished melody. O'Callaghan argues the track's not just the composer's journey, but Jeffrey's emotional state too, mirroring the investigation's progress.
It provides this commentary on loneliness, connection.
And irony. You might hear, like, jaunty party music from one window while Jeffries is watching Thorwald do something deeply sinister. That layering is deliberate.
The book documents the planning behind mapping specific sounds to specific apartments.
Yes. The archival stuff shows how carefully they planned it. The arguments, the music, the sounds of Thorwald moving things, it all builds tension organically, without relying on a big, obvious score telling you, be scared now. The city itself becomes a kind of narrator.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk people. Stars, studio politics. O'Callaghan must have unearthed some good stuff there too. Jimmy Stewart and Grace Kelly. What new angles does the book bring?
Well, first, it really emphasizes how crucial Stewart's established persona was. That kind of decent, relatable, slightly awkward American everyman.
It makes the voyeurism okay, doesn't it? Because it's him doing the watching.
Exactly. Stewart's inherent likability as the audience is in, it neutralizes the potential creepiness and lets us go along with the spying. But the really new finding O'Callaghan highlights is about Grace Kelly.
Ah, right. She apparently hesitated about taking the Lisa Fremont role, which seems wild now.
It does. We think of it as this iconic role, but O'Callaghan found documents showing Kelly had real reservations. She was a major star, just coming off The Country Girl.
Yeah, she won the Oscar.
Right. And she was worried, apparently, about her career path. Would playing Lisa, this glamorous, sophisticated woman, just reinforce that cool ice princess image? Or maybe just seem like the decorative girlfriend role in a Stewart-led film.
So it was about typecasting, about strategy within the studio system, not about the quality of the script itself.
Seems so. The book details the back and forth, the negotiations, to ensure Lisa had real agency, intelligence, that she was an active partner in the investigation, not just, looking fabulous, which she does, of course.
But she's crucial to the plot. She's the one who goes into Thorwald's apartment.
Exactly. And that negotiation gives you a real glimpse into the pressures even a top star faced. It wasn't automatic. Every role was a calculated move.
And speaking of calculation, O'Callaghan found something really juicy about the villain, Lars Thorwald. Something about Hitchcock's personal life bleeding into the film.
Yes, this is the anecdote that's getting a lot of buzz. It definitely raises questions about using art to settle scores. O'Callaghan presents evidence that Hitchcock deliberately modeled the look and mannerisms of Thorwald, the weary posture, the specific appearance on a real-life producer. Someone Hitchcock apparently disliked intensely, felt had wronged him professionally.
Wow. So he cast a guy he hated, metaphorically, as the wife killer. That's kind of ruthless.
It's very Hitchcock, isn't it? That control, that manipulation. O'Callaghan suggests it was Hitchcock using the screen to, trap and punish this rival, embedding his personal grudge right into the film text.
Can you imagine being that producer, watching the movie and seeing yourself portrayed as that?
It's a chilling thought. The book doesn't explicitly name the producer, focusing more on Hitchcock's motivation and method. The notes apparently confirm Hitchcock instructing the actor, Raymond Burr, and the designers to incorporate specific traits.
So even his grudges served the film in his mind.
Everything served the film, even settling scores, apparently.
And that theme of control, manipulation, it ties into how he dealt with the censors, right? The production code administration. O'Callaghan found something specific there, too.
Yes, and this is fascinating insight into how Hollywood worked then. The production code was incredibly strict. O'Callaghan confirms Hitchcock used a very clever tactical approach, the decoy strategy.
Wait, he deliberately put more offensive stuff into the film, knowing it would be cut?
That seems to be the gist of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a strategic sacrifice. According to the files O'Callaghan accessed, he'd include a brief, maybe gratuitous visual, something slightly suggestive, maybe bordering on nudity that he knew the censors would jump on.
Like waving a red flag at a bull.
Exactly. It gave them something obvious to demand be removed.
Ugh.
A clear win for the censors.
And while they were focused on that,
he could protect the more subtle thematic things he actually cared about, the stuff integral to the plot or the character psychology.
What kind of things did he manage to keep in using this tactic?
The book suggests it wasn't usually about nudity per se, but more about thematic elements, like the cynicism of Jeffrey's character or the implications of his relationship with Lisa, her forwardness. The censors might have wanted to soften those edges.
And maybe Lisa going into Thorwald's apartment. That feels like something they'd object to.
Potentially, yeah. It could be seen as endorsing breaking and entering. By giving them the easy target, the decoy visual, Hitchcock diverted their attention, protected the core narrative, including those morally ambiguous moments.
That's brilliant. In a Machiavellian sort of way. It shows you really had to play the game back then.
Absolutely. It wasn't just art, it was strategy. Knowing your opponent, using their own rules against them. O'Callaghan really lays bare those power dynamics.
Okay, let's pull back a bit, put this all in context. Where does O'Callaghan's analysis position Rear Window in Hitchcock's overall career? How significant was it?
Hugely significant. O'Callaghan reinforces the view that this was a pivotal film. It came after a couple of films that hadn't done quite as well commercially or critically.
Like Under Capricorn.
Exactly. Rear Window was a massive hit for Paramount. It was proof, if anyone needed it, that Hitchcock was still the absolute master of suspense, cinematic space, psychological depth, and that he could deliver that with major star power.
It sort of solidified his brand for the rest of the 50s and 60s, setting the stage for films like Vertigo, North by Northwest, Psycho.
Absolutely. It restored his commercial clout and critical standing, and it showed he could make something deeply intimate and character-focused, yet on this epic technical scale.
And thematically, the book argues it's more than just a thriller.
Definitely. O'Callaghan makes a strong case that Rear Window is a profound meditation on themes that were really bubbling up in 1950s America. The nature of watching, privacy, urban alienation.
Living packed together but feeling isolated.
Precisely. The tension between what happens behind closed doors and the face we present to the public. The ethics of observation. Hitchcock was exploring these ideas in other films around then, but O'Callaghan argues Rear Window crystallizes them perfectly. The window frame itself is the ultimate metaphor.
Locking the audience into Jeffrey's compromised viewpoint.
Yeah, it captures that mid-century anxiety about modern life so acutely.
So how is the book itself being received? What are reviewers saying about O'Callaghan's work?
Very positively overall. The big praise is for the depth of the archival research, combined with how accessible and readable it is. It's not some dry academic tome, even though the scholarship is clearly there.
So it works for both serious film students and just, Hitchcock fans.
That seems to be the consensus. It delivers the technical details, the set plans, the camera notes, which scholars love for analyzing mise-en-scène. It gives concrete examples for teaching.
You can see exactly how Hitchcock achieved those effects.
Right. It moves from theory to documented practice, but it also provides the juicy anecdotes, the casting drama, the censorship battles that general readers enjoy. And the chapter structure is apparently quite user-friendly. You can dip into specific topics easily.
That's always helpful. Are there any criticisms or caveats?
Only a minor one, really, coming from hardcore Hitchcock scholars. Some note that it covers familiar ground in terms of his overall biography or career arc. It doesn't completely rewrite the Hitchcock story.
But that's not its goal, right?
Exactly. Its novelty and strength lie in the new archival details about this specific film. It adds rich texture, forensic confirmation, maybe clarifies motivations, rather than offering a radical reinterpretation of the man himself.
So it deepens our understanding of how this masterpiece was made under these specific conditions.
Precisely that. If you're fascinated by the practicalities, the nuts and bolts of filmmaking, or want real examples of how constraints can spark creativity, O'Callaghan's book sounds essential. It brings the production process vividly to life.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. We've touched on O'Callaghan's deep archival dive, the sheer audacity and technical brilliance of that courtyard set, the logistical hurdles they overcame with light and sound.
Then there's Grace Kelly's initial, very strategic hesitation about the role, which humanizes the casting process.
And those amazing archival finds Hitchcock basing the villain on a producer he disliked, and that incredibly cunning decoy tactic to handle the censors.
Yeah, O'Callaghan paints a picture of filmmaking as this complex blend of artistry, engineering, negotiation, and sometimes, well, personal score settling. It really shows how Hitchcock controlled every element.
Which brings us nicely to a final thought for you, our listeners, to maybe ponder. It builds on that very theme of control and observation.
Given O'Callaghan's discovery about Hitchcock modeling Thorwald on someone he personally disliked, using his film to kind of enact this symbolic revenge.
How does knowing the film itself is about watching, judging, maybe condemning others from afar change how you see Hitchcock? That blend of genius, meticulous control, and maybe a certain manipulative streak using the medium itself.
Was he just observing the courtyard, or was he observing us, his audience, maybe even Hollywood itself, through that same controlling lens? Something to think about next time you watch the film.
A fascinating question indeed. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the making of Rear Window, illuminated by Jennifer O'Callaghan's new book. We hope this gives you a whole new appreciation for this cinematic milestone.